Hey everyone, welcome to another Let's Create video. My name is Sarah with Taylor Art Studio, and today we're going to make some gnome homes. The supplies you're going to need are an empty can or bottle, scissors or an X-Acto blade, maybe some garden shears, hot glue, Elmer's glue, sticks, sand, shells, construction paper, raffia, and a Sharpie marker. So the first thing I did before I started the video here, I went outside and I gathered some sticks that I liked. So you can go outside and find some cool sticks. You can find acorns or pine cones, rocks, all kinds of different things. Anything that you would want to incorporate into your little gnome home here. So I already drew onto this container was from oatmeal. So I just cleaned it out and I peeled the label off the outside, and then I used my Sharpie marker and I drew where I wanted my windows and my door to be. And now I'm cutting some sticks so that they fit around my windows and my door to create a frame. Now before you do this, I should have done this before, but if you have an adult with you, and if you're using a plastic bottle or a cardboard container like this, you can use the X-Acto blade or a box cutter to cut open your windows if you want to. You don't have to, and if you're using a can, an old empty can, you can't really do that. So it's totally fine if you aren't able to cut those windows open. So I'm just finishing the frame around my door. And now I'm actually making a little beach gnome home or a beach fairy house. So I'm going to use Elmer's glue on the outside, and I'm going to take sand and I'm going to sprinkle it all over the outside. So I squirted some glue onto the container and then I spread it out, sprinkled some sand, and then just put some glue if there were some empty spots or places where I didn't get any sand. And then I just used my finger and kind of patted the sand down into the glue so that it stuck really well. Now I'm adding some popsicle sticks. These are straight craft popsicle sticks, so they're not the rounded ones. But I'm using these and I'm cutting little pieces of them to create like a wood, kind of a slatted wood look to my door. And then I'm cutting just a little piece off of the end of a stick to create the doorknob. So now that I have my door done and I have my windows cut out, I'm kind of going through the seashells too to see if I want to add any of those to it. But I think I end up deciding against it. I just like the sand, I like it a little bit simpler. So I'm adding more sand here. And just spread that glue out and then sprinkle the sand and tap it down with your fingers. If you feel the glue still, like if you feel a lot of glue, you should put a little bit more sand there and put sand on it until you can't really feel the glue through it anymore, and that'll make sure you get a good amount of coverage. So now I'm going to start on the roof. I'm going to build kind of a teepee frame for the roof. And I cut some little holes in that plastic lid, and I'm going to put these little popsicle sticks into those holes so that they're nice and secure, and then I hot glue them together. Now I'm going to, I did glue on the inside of my windows. I did cut 2 small squares of fabric and I hot glued those on the inside of the container so it looked like it had little windows. Alright, now I'm adding some thicker popsicle sticks just to give it a little bit more stability. And I'm going to go ahead and that raffia there, I'm gonna do the palm fronds. So I'm gonna draw and cut out some palm fronds from some construction paper, and I'm gonna use these later to add some color to my gnome home and to give it a little bit more of a beachy look to it. And I'm going to use two different colors of green, so a dark green and a light green. And once you draw and cut out your first shape, if you're trying to make the same shape a few different times, just use that first one that you cut out as a stencil. And you can just trace around it and you can make the same thing over and over again. So I glue these on first, and then I decide that I don't want them on first because I want to add that raffia stuff to it first and then put the leaves on it. So I end up peeling them off and then gluing the raffia to it first. So the raffia is like this craft, you can get it at craft stores and stuff, but you can also use any kind of dried grass, or you can use actual leaves if you want to. You can use palm fronds. The thing about palm fronds though, sometimes they can, if you bend them, if they're dried out and you bend them, they can break. So if you want palm fronds, I would suggest finding one that is still kind of green, and then you can fold it and manipulate it without it breaking, and then, you know, once it dries out, it'll be that kind of light tan color. This is the kind of stuff that you can find too if you have any kind of decoration, like a hula skirt or something like that you got at a party store, you know, that you don't ever wear anymore. You can cut that up and make pieces for your little beach gnome home too. So I'm adding those leaves on there. See, it just gives it a little bit extra color and just makes it a little bit more fun, a little more beachy. So the top there too, I wanted to put a little bit on the top to have it have a little thing sticking up there. And I'm just adding some more of that raffia down at the bottom where there's some holes, where there's some open spots where I can still see the lid. And then too, if you can see on my little beach gnome home, I did cut some two more sticks for each window to make the window frame on the inside, and then I added these little pieces of sticks with colored shells in them to be like little planter things. So that's all. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you're all staying safe and staying inspired.